Hey guys, Bump here, bringing you another Dragonflight Unholy video. Today we're taking a look at a 22 Ruby Life Pools I did today, where I'm running a new-ish build. I'm sure lots of people have done this already, but I just kind of discovered it because I was running with another Unholy DK who's like 3k plus Ryo, and he was running it. I was like, hang on, this looks interesting. I should play this and try it out. So here's my first dungeon playing this. It's the No Army Gargoyle build for Mythic Plus, and it's quite different from what I've been running in the past. As you can notice, there's no apocalypse, there's no army, right? There's also no army of the damned, no magas. Loads of things that are not there that we usually pick up. But we do get things like reaping. We pick up 1 point in improved death call. We obviously get our gargoyle. We got double morbidity. I think overall, this feels like it does more overall compared to the other build. It's quite nice. It has a fixed 3-minute cooldown window with your gargoyle, so it's very easy to line up with your posser box. Gives you very good priority damage. Gives you good cleave because we take improved death call. I don't know, I'm a big fan. Even though I've only played it in one key, the other key when I'm running it on a DK, he beat me in overall. So I was obviously like, hang on, his build must be better. Can't be that he's playing better. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's quite different to play. We'll get into that, exactly what the difference is and how you deal with it. For instance, your 4-set needs to be triggered with a Scourge Strike a bit earlier. When we run Apocalypse, we use that to trigger the first 4-set window, but now we're going to use that with a Scourge Strike. So it looks a tiny bit different, but overall plays roughly the same, right? That was the build. I don't think there's much to move around here. Like, I think this is pretty much set in stone, and yeah, I wouldn't change much for Fortified. I'll see if I can figure out some new exciting tyrannical key kind of thing. All right, I'm going to skip ahead here because what happens is that I die. The healer tries to rest me, but the tank pulls, and we wipe, so we have to go again. Let's see. There we go. Alright, even if we did this, we timed the key, right? And I ended up at 107k overall. So I think it kind of showcases the strength of the build to some degree. Anyway, for gear, right, trinkets, we want Posser Dogs. It's quite an important one for this because we're going to time it with every gargoyle at 3 minutes. That's what's nice with it. We can blind up very easily. Second trinket, I would like something passive if I had it, right? I'm running Grief Torch, which is fine, good priority damage, but I would like Hunger the Pack, Icon, Whetstone. You know the deal, I always talk about this. Rune Forge is Fallen Crusader, as always. Stats, I would think, you know, somewhat balanced stats is a good idea. Creator Mastery are your, you know, Mythic Plus AoE stats, but having some haste helps with your gargoyle and means that you will do more power damage. I have far too much haste, so I'm just gonna say that immediately. This is my raid gear, so you don't try and copy and run this. Too much haste. I would definitely run less. And you know, I've tried out running the corrupting bile, which is very interesting, but you don't want to run that whenever you actually do invisibility skips like we did here, because it can trigger like debuff and get you out of visibility. Still, I probably should have applied it after, but versatility is all good because it gives survivability, that kind of thing, yeah. Alright, that's pretty much all the setup and gear and that kind of thing. Let's talk about your rotation, right? So generally, right, when you engage your pack, we're going to do it in a similar manner to how we did it in the normal disease build, yeah? We are going to use a Naked Scourge Strike to start, get our Plaguebringer going. We're going to follow up with Blight, DT, right? Abomination Limb, Unholy Assault, right? All your cooldowns, right? You're then going to do a rather quick Scourge Strike just to get your, it's the 2-set bonus, not 4 sets, sorry about that, going, right? Dump Epidemic, and then when you're, what's it called? When the 2-set is about to expire again, you pop down Deafening K, Scourge Strike again, and then you spam Epidemics, right? That's the general vibe. So Naked Scourge Strike, use all the cooldowns, Scourge Strike again to get your 2-set going, use more epidemics, then Death Decay and Scourge Strike once and an epidemic. It's all about, you know, funneling your epidemics. We don't really spend a lot of time Scourge Striking. That's only really to burst the wounds regenerate so that we can get runic power to fuel our damage. And it's also good for Gargoyle, right? We generate so much runic power that we're gonna, all those epidemics are gonna go into Gargoyle damage. Position of Gargoyle in the opener is going to be right at the start. So when you use Blight, send off your Gargoyle. Because what happens, right, is that we want a couple of GCDs before we use Unholy Assault. So we got good overlap of the haste buff for your Gargoyle. So use Gargoyle early so that you get good Unholy Assault overlap. Right, that's pretty much it. Every pack is going to be some variation of that opener, right? Sometimes you won't have all your cooldowns, right? You just skip that portion. If you don't have Unholy Blight, you just Outbreak. If you don't use DT, just ignore it, right? If you don't have Unholy Assault, you're going to use Festering Strike instead, so you can use Scourge Strike for the 2 set. But otherwise, it's the same kind of idea. It follows that kind of pattern, yeah? For single target, it's very much the same. We do the exact same thing there, right? Now, let's talk about how we time our cooldowns. So one important thing here is that your Gargoyle is 3 minutes and Unholy Assault is 1.5. This means that if you want to align those properly, you want to make sure that you use Unholy Assault on cooldown. If you don't, what happens is you're going to have to delay your Gargoyles, which is terrible, or you're going to have to use them without Unholy Assault, which is also not ideal. Gargoyle double dips on haste, which means that it's very, very valuable to actually combine it every time. Yeah, I personally can say that I was pretty bad at doing it here. I should have sent my Unholy Assaults more aggressively, because I did feel like I had to hold some Gargoyles to line it up and so on. Also, if you want to be really fancy about it, you should get a timer for your Thundering, right? If you know Thundering's coming up, you can kind of align your Gargoyle so that the end of the Gargoyle comes with the Thundering buff, which is like a huge DPS increase. But that's a bit above what I'm currently doing, so I might do that later. Right, so that was quite quick. You know, I've done loads of these videos in the past, so I think we don't need to cover that much of the rotation. Instead, I would simply provide commentary now of the video, talk about my choices, talk about my rotation, what I'm doing, and so on. We're currently on the first boss. This is pretty great for us because we can leverage Epidemic to very good effect to kill those ads. When they come in, right, the first ones, I don't hold cooldowns for them, that's not needed, but they kind of align by themselves, luckily. What you want to do, right, is that you want to use Blight DT, make sure your Plaguebringer is up, and then you also want to spam Epidemic. Epidemic just deals by far the most damage there. One good aspect, right, with Dark Transformation is that it's going to apply wounds in AoE. That's why you want to pop down your Death Decay and use Scourge Strike, both to get Festamite stack and to generate an absolute ton of runic power, which will then funnel into more epidemics. Other than that, you know, we can use Death's Advance to dodge that ring. It doesn't push you back. Good to use AMS for that one. It's quite a heavy hit. If I did run Anti-Magic Zone, I would have used it for the when the ads come through, because it's taking damage. Anyway, that's over done with. Next thing happening, right, we have Bloodlust coming up in 25 seconds, and my Gargoyle is also up, which is perfect for me because I'm going to be able to time those to kill the big dragon here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a Scourge Strike, Blight, use my Gargoyle quite early, DT, Unholy Assault, right? Another Scourge Strike, hopefully. We'll see if I do that properly. And then just spam Epidemics to fuel that Gargoyle. I'm also going to use my racial ability and potentially, no, I don't have potion, right? Anyway, we've got the Thunderhead coming in. So let's look at his opener and see exactly how it works. So I go in, I do Scourge Strike, do my armor Gargoyle early, I then come in with my Puzzle Box, right? That's early Scourge Strike, dump my runic power, and then I use Death Decay here, right? Because I got some ads that I can leverage it on. I use AMS. I should pre-AMS that debuff, by the way. You can immune it, which is more ideal. But you can see here, I'm at 150k DPS, and I'm just blasting this boss with my Gargoyle. 150k? 850, sorry. Really solid priority damage, and it comes so quickly, deals so much damage. Right, I'm currently thinking about my Abomination Limb. It's off CD, but I'm going to hold it for the next pull. I think I'm going to get much more value there than using it to kill this Thunderhead. 850k. Right, it feels like Gargoyle, right? It does more damage than Army would, right? And imagine you have to kind of pick 2 talents to get Army. That's why you end up with an overall DPS gain, I believe. This pack we go Skirt Strike, and then we do you know, all our cooldowns, Blight, DT, Limb, right? I should do an earlier Skirt Strike there, I think, to get my foresight going, but not too much important, right? And then it's all about funnel that damage into epidemics. Right, we do get a ninja pull here, but it works out fine for us, luckily, because we can kill the fight anyway. We're kind of outside of the opener now, so what we do is you're going to do the single target, you know, rotation where we do use Festering Strike. We want some wounds that we're going to pop to trigger our 2 sets, and then we're also going to pop down our secondary Death and Decay. You know, there's still wounds up on multiple targets due to Death and Decay, no, Dark Transformation, sorry. We have Inferno coming through. I'm going to use my AMS for it. It immunes the dot, which is a great help for the healer. That means that you take far less damage from this pack than you otherwise would. These casters as well, very important to try and interrupt them as much as possible. I could probably be better at that, I think. And I really don't want to be anywhere close to them when they die. They do this kind of like blazing thing, which deals big AoE around them in a very small area. So if you stand on top of them, you might get one shot. It's not the flame dance, but the other one. This guy will do it. That Blaze of Glory, right? That's a one shot pretty much. But I do manage to avoid it. I did get hit by the swirl today, sadly, so we're gonna have to rest me and continue on. I'm currently 117k overall. I think I would have been higher if we didn't mess up that early pull, right? Because that definitely lowered my overall. So I think if it was a proper, right, I would have been at like 115, 120. Anyway, we have another Gargoyle there. You can see I wasn't quite good at using my Unholy Sword properly. It's not quite ready, but I'm going to send it anyway. Use my poster box, and then I'm just going to do my Unholy Sword when it comes up. And then now I'm just fueling that Gargoyle as much as possible. Refresh my dots there. I'm going to update the weak cards, by the way. So I added some reminder kind of glows when they are short on duration, so I can tell more easily when I need to refresh them. And there we go, 200k DPS, pretty solid. One thing I need to learn is that, you know, I'm kind of used to, oh, there we go. I stood close, I was near the one shot. I need to learn, so we are using an improved Death Call, which means that Death Call is a high priority at 2 and 3 targets, DPS wise. You might want to use Epidemic to actually stack up Death Rot, but overall on 3 targets, you should generally be pressing Death Call, right? And I've been playing without improved Death Call, so you might see me using Epidemic a bit too much. Just an FYI. It's a very good talent because there are quite a lot of situations where you have that 2 target cleave. In this dungeon specifically, the final boss is an excellent 2 target cleave fight where we're going to try and leverage that as much as possible. Another pack, another opener, Naked Skirt Strike, Blight, DT, you know. I'm going to probably Festering Strike. I'm just going to keep spamming. There we go. Oh yeah. Right, wasn't that classic, but I got my cooldowns down eventually. Right, I'm just prioritizing using my Epidemic as much as possible. Probably going to use a Blinding Sleet here soon to interrupt the casts. Hopefully. I use a grip there to do it. Man, DKs have so many tools to do interrupts. We can use our normal one, we can use 2 grips, right? We can use Pet Stun, and we can use Blinding Sleet. It's just a lot. So try and make use of it as much as possible. I don't think when it comes to aligning cooldowns, it's not that important that your Gargoyle comes with your Blight and DT, right? They don't synergize that well, but using Unholy Sword with Gargoyle is much more important and something you want to do. We are going to skip this dragon. It's quite common to do so, especially on Fortified, so you just wait for him to run away and then he's going to run through. I remember I got a bit worried there because the mage seemed like he wanted to pull that add to the left, but well, it didn't. Now, we are going to get our Gargoyle up here eventually, so we are going to use it after a while, but not immediately. So you essentially, I think I used it too early here, yeah, because you want to use Unholy Sword 5 seconds after, and that's going to be more like 8 seconds, so I don't know, it's still fine. There we go. So pop everything down, spamming Epidemic, just doing priority damage. I should also use my Racial here, I think I'm missing that. It helps, you know, both helps you feed more rune power into the Gargoyle and makes it attack faster, which is really strong. So it's the reason I'm running Troll, so I should very much make use of it. Alright, unfortunately Mage died again, but you know, mages are not the tankiest. Alright, Naked Skirt Strike, Blight DT, gonna use my Trinket here. Quiet an early Skirt Strike to get my 4-set going. Dot my runic power, and I'm gonna probably should have used Deafening K there, but yeah. Second time we need to refresh it, Deafening K, right? So it is different. The current build plays a lot around just your Plaguebringer window. So the second Skirt Strike is quite late of 10 seconds, whereas in this scenario it comes much earlier because it replaces where you would have otherwise used Apocalypse, right? So that is something to think about, so you don't end up, you know, just spamming Epidemic at starter pool and not actually triggering your 4-set. It's quite important to do so. 2 targets, we can Death Call, come on. There we go. Very nice. This next boss, also great opportunity to Death Call. Love it. Nothing too fancy we can do here. Obviously, the add that spawns will do this cast, which we can immune with AMS, which is great. Helps the healer a ton. We're going to use lots of Death Calls, right, to do good cleave. Make sure we always target the add. Alright, there we go again. The Naked Skirt Strike. Follow up why these Skirt Strike to trigger. I have 2-set. Sorry that I'm, you know, 2-set, 4-set, same thing to me. I don't really differentiate between them too much. So there we go. AMS that first one, you can see it deals no damage to me. Add Death and K down as well to do some nice cleave. And also thinking about, you know, Gargoyle coming up in 45 seconds. That's probably going to be a play with Unholy Assault that is at 1 minute. Unfortunately, you can see I'm not great at lining them because I've not been using my Unholy Assault on cooldown. So that's something I should work on. Hopefully, I will also manage to press my Racial because that's something we want to do to optimize our damage. Alright, we're baiting the boulder here to the side there. Using my cooldowns here to do lots of priority damage. You might want to save your cooldowns for the Firestorm adds to just make sure they die quickly. If they live for too long, you will end up running out of interrupts, which is not great. Right, we've got my next Gargoyle here coming up, but you can see 20 seconds left on Holy Sword, so I'm going to hold on to it a little bit. And then we're going to use it to do some good priority damage. Here, I think it's a mistake, right? I used it too early. I think I should have waited more, because now I get terrible overlap with my Unholy Assault. And you will notice that my Gargoyle just deals very low damage. Right, I only got 7 seconds there. Bad. I should have held it. Yeah, unfortunately, I think our mage is not really making sure to bait that properly, but it's fine. We will make it. And you can see 423 damage. Okay, right? It should be, you know, 600 at least, I'd say, for that kind of, you know, no lost Gargoyle. None lost Gargoyle, right? Otherwise, I would be disappointed. Cool. We got cooldowns here for the next guy, so that's going to die quite quickly. Run out, and then we're probably going to make sure we just focus the boss here. You can AMS and run over the fire. Good tip. Probably should save it though for when the ad shows up, but I felt like we were running such a far distance, so probably better to just make sure we got there in time. We're just gonna focus on the boss now and interrupt the ad here. By the way, this is a very tight key. I'll let you know that. So that's the whole wiping thing at the business, wiping business at start, right? It probably cost us like 3 minutes or something. So we definitely have the DPS to do this. It was just that it was very messy at start, which delayed us. Here we see a classic opener without any cooldowns, right? I don't have anything ready except Unholy Assault, so I'm probably going to use that. So I'm going to have to use Outbreak to dot everything up, right? I will send Unholy Assault just to make sure I have it ready for Gargoyle later. You can see even though, you know, didn't have anything ready really, I could still put out a good amount of DPS. And then my cooldowns coming up, so I'm going to pop those ASAP. And then we have Abomination Limb as well, probably going to use that. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, right, even without cooldowns, we do really good DPS. Just because, you know, we can leverage that epidemic cleave so well. And our diseases also do a ton of damage, so, you know, we just do a lot of damage. And I'm sure people will pick up on that, so hopefully it's going to be easier and easier to get invited over time. By the way, I'm such a... man, when I run keys, I always end up, you know, bringing too many Death Knights. Like, I run the Azure Vault, right, 22, 3 Death Knights. That was an appropriate number, you know. Right here, you can see I got Gargoyle coming up, but Unholy Assault is still at 15 seconds, 20. So I'm going to hold it for the next pack. Which is not ideal, right? It would have been much better for me if everything aligned, and I could have popped it here. Alas, you know, can't always have it your way. I'm going to make sure we kill that channeler. The fire cast he does is very high priority. The flash fire, like that's going to kill people. So need to interrupt that as quickly as possible. All right, and now we're going to have our Gargoyle and Unholy Sword set up, which is good. So we're just going to be able to annihilate one of the ads in the next pool, which I'm looking forward to. All right. Whoops, that was scary. All right, just pop it immediately, wait a couple of GCDs, and then pop our puzzle box. Oh, come on. I pressed it a bit too early. Macro didn't work. Had the Death Strike there. You can actually say Death Striking with Darks Occur counts towards Gargoyle, so it's a good kind of... If you get that proc, you can use it and you will like get some damage for free. And that's that. And we got, let's see, if 540. I would hope for a little bit more DPS, but that's fine. As I said, we're on 600k and I would be happy with like a non-lost Gargoyle. Again, you can see here, if I had better timers, I could have saved it, but I'm not sure if that's worth, but maybe. You know, it's 30% more damage, so probably best to align it when you can. But it's also tricky. I need to get some weak aura that shows me my thundering. Alright, we've got 4 minutes and 40, so it's really tight on time, so we just need to absolutely nuke this pack. So we're going to pop our Bloodlust there. You can see I do make the mistake. I think generally I should be using my second Skirt Strike earlier, right? Make sure I get off my tier set. But yeah, we're pumping her, 250k. Epidemic's doing some big work. It's also that thing with this build, right? It picks up talents that increase your AoE that you wouldn't otherwise have. So all serve, you know, does like 2% of my roll, so a tiny bit of extra damage, but it cleaves 50% of its primary damage is in an AoE around it. We have second morbidity point, which is going to add a couple of percent, you know, 2, 3, I think, depends on what you use. But overall, right, it just means that we get more AoE with this build. Like, there's nothing denying it. And it looks like we get more single target as well. I just think it's superior when I played it. I played it once, so, you know, might not be the best one, but I think it is superior. By the way, here's the name of the guy that played it when in a key with me. I can't read it. I think it's in Russian. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for you. I don't know what your real name is because I can't read it. All right, this guy is done. We still got 3 minutes. We're gonna kill all these little cloud thingies, and then immediately go to the boss. Plan for boss is that we kill the dragon. So essentially, as much as possible, DPS the dragon so he hits 50% first. And when he hits 50%, just use all your cooldowns and nuke him down, because that's when it's actually difficult to fight. 100 to 50%, not very difficult. When both of them are alive and he sits on the dragon, right, that's when it's really hard. So you want to minimize that time. I'm going to save my Gargoyle for that, so I can use some good priority damage. Same thing with Puzzle Box, but what I will do is use my Unholy Assault here without triggering my Puzzle Box. As you can see, I moved to interrupt it because this is a macro. Alright, we're going to keep a look on the dragon, make sure that we hit it as much as possible, so always have it dotted up. There we go. And when it's actually in range, we're going to, try and damage it. Just kind of swapping as soon as possible will mean that it goes to 50% first, because it has less HP, I think. Not sure if that's true, actually, but... Alright, pop some cooldowns again. He's at 65, right? So it's soon time for him to go. I made a mistake here, so I popped my Gargoyle as soon as he... oh, they made a mistake there. But AMS, if you get to 5 thing, you just AMS and you'll survive it, no problem. Right, so he's now down to 50, and I popped my Gargoyle. Mistake. First thing, I should have saved Unholy Assault, so I could have used it with a Gargoyle. Also, he jumps quite far away, which is not good, because our Gargoyle will have to move, and we don't want it to move, because then he can't, deal damage. So better to wait for them to kind of stack up and then use it. But yeah, I'm just using Death Calls here. You can see my Gargoyle did 400. Terrible. Right? Should have waited for them to land at the spot. Should have a hold on my Unholy Assault. A couple of things to take away. Alright. Everyone's going to get the fire debuff. Going to use the cooldowns properly. It's 50 seconds and we are going to time this. Nothing more exciting happening here. Here's my damage breakdown. You can see Arbiter didn't do that much overall. The guy I played he got like 9 million overall, so definitely something to improve there. Not too sure what, but I don't know, maybe a different key, that kind of thing. Anyway, very new, very exciting build. I like it, fun to play. Hope you do as well. Let me know down in the comments. What you thinking about this build? Does it work well for you? Did you get high overall with it? That kind of thing. Upvote, downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.